What's good, y'all? Jump straight into it. I'm making this video to basically say, I want to start off by saying on my portfolio, I made a mistake. I got ahead of myself for good reason, but I will start off by saying that I made a mistake. Start off by showing y'all my purchase history. This has been going back about 2 weeks in the making. I didn't really want to I'm gonna say I put off making this video because of my mistake. But I figured it's best if I go ahead and put out the video talking about it now and just try to correct it. So I do on the side of it. So I began my mistake by basically purchasing in the crypto, which I'm not really a big fan of. I was trying to make some quick trades versus long-term investing. And what I did was I ended up purchasing some shares of DeFi Technology, which is, from my understanding, a company that puts out crypto-related ETFs. I made a speculative bet that company would go up about 25% in a short period of time, being that Bitcoin and everything had just had a run up. Like I said, crypto isn't my specialty. Trading short-term isn't necessarily my specialty. I do it sometimes. But for a reason like this, I'd rather focus on long term. And what I did was I purchased some shares. I put about $400 $300 into the market. I purchased one share of Google, which I think was a good buy. But I made those purchases of DeFi, and I ended up taking about a 15% loss on those. Which of the 300, I spent about $120 on DeFi. So taking a 10-15% loss wasn't too bad. What I'm upset about is I actually sold some shares of AMD. That's really the kicker. AMD, the reason that I sold is because the company went up so much, I almost doubled my money. And I figured it'd be a pullback soon, which it is a pullback going on right now. But in me selling, when I have to pay taxes on that sale, which is about 15% in taxes, which I'm not too mad about because I can write it off with the purchases that I've made this year. But I will technically have to pay taxes on that sale. Outside of that, I still think the company is good. I still think the stock could double or triple or maybe even 10x over the next 10 years. So I potentially sold myself short on profits over the next 5 to 10 years. Like I said, I think the market is at a high right now. I think it's going to go down a little bit, but that might not be the case for AMD. And if it does go down, when it goes back up, it's gonna be worth it in the long term. So what I'm gonna end up doing to correct my mistake is I'm gonna go back in and I'm gonna repurchase AMD, and just be okay with the fact that I'm gonna have to pay taxes on some of the profits that I made, even though I'm technically putting the profits right back in, and they aren't seeing the profits anymore once I make the reinvestment. But I figured that's the best thing for me to go ahead and do. Admit I made the mistake and go ahead and reinvest versus missing out and being ashamed to make a video to tell you guys about it. So before I sold AMD, with the profits from AMD, my account was up about 33%, right at about 32%. With the dip that happened on last Friday, it probably would have went down to about 30%. But after me selling, with that no longer being included in my portfolio, my profits on my current portfolio are at about 20%, which is still great, but it just feels better as an investment to have a profile where I can say, hey, this shows you guys that I'm up 30 plus percent on the year. Plus I have AMD. I've had AMD since it was half the price and I still have it. So just to be able to do that, plus keep the current gains that I had, I really wish I would have kept the stock. More so into why I sold, I believe in the short term, we're going to see a dip in the market. I do have a family. I do have other things I needed to do. And I did want to take some of that money and pay off a little bit of debt. Not a lot of debt. Really just like about $700 in debt. I just don't like keeping it on my portfolio. More so specifically on my credit card. So I wanted to get rid of that. And to do that, as you saw on my screen a few minutes ago, I sold some silver too. The plan with that silver was either put it in the market at that moment so that I would eventually trade it and use it for something such as bills or to purchase actual physical silver. So the money that I sold on the silver ETF, I'm probably going to use it to still either repurchase silver or pay off a few bills with it. And I don't feel bad about that at all, because as far as the silver ETF goes, I'm not a big fan of holding silver ETFs. The only reason I'm doing it is because the premium recently over the past few years on silver was kind of high when you're purchasing the physical metal. So versus paying that premium, I was purchasing in the ETF market through SLV, basically, so I can get that, get the metal without having to pay that premium. And once I actually sell, I don't have to worry about losing that premium. And in this case, I'm able to sell without having to worry about losing the premium. But all in all, silver on the ETF, I'm not a fan of. I think actual ETF markets, whether it's COMEX or LBMA, I think they trade like the whole mining supply, the yearly mining supply of silver in one day. I think they only have about 1/10 of what they actually. They only back up about 1/10 of what they trade with actual metals. So I'm not really a big fan of holding those. That was a short-term play. So like I said, all in all, I'm not really mad about losing or selling out in profit on the silver. Like I said, the AMD sale, I'm not really a big fan of. Like I said, even though I made a great profit, my profit on AMD specifically at the time was about 79–80%. So I'm not mad at taking the 80% profit, but I am kind of upset about taking a profit on the company that I believe is still going to grow. And there's technically nothing going bad with the company currently. I learned from Palantir in the past. I've learned from Tesla in the past. And usually if it's a good company, you're buying it while it's at a low price, even if they have a pullback of a few percentage, or even if they're down for 1 year, in the long term, it's usually a great thing to have them as an asset if you can get in early enough. So with that being said, I will be going back to repurchase those AMD shares sometime, hopefully this week. Hopefully we get a drop on Monday, and I can get all those back plus some more. But I don't know, feeling kind of bad about it right now, solely off for tax purposes. With that being said, overall portfolio is still up technically about 30%, which you guys won't be able to see when I show you. This is going to include AMD currently, or my profits that I took on AMD. So I guess I can for viewers' sake, I can say my account is up 20% now, which is still great. This is a lesson along the journey. I hope you guys learned something from what I just did. Luckily, if you bought AMD with me, not saying that you should match my portfolio because I'm just running down YouTube. But if you've been buying AMD, hopefully this is an inspiration to keep holding it. The market crashes. I hope you guys don't say that you held it because of me. But usually, if you're a long-term investor, that's what you should do. Find something that's undervalued, something that you believe in, and hold it for the long term and see what happens. So yeah. As far as newer purchases, I also purchased, like I said, a Google stock recently. I would like to get more Google. I think that Google could end up going down in value in the short term, but overall, I think Google's going to do great. As Waymo gets bigger, it's going to take off. The search engine thing, I don't know. ChatGPT, I don't know. Hopefully they come up with something that keeps it afloat. Hopefully they can integrate their own AI software to build up Google and make it more like ChatGPT, and make it an actual viable competitor to ChatGPT. But I do still see room for Google to grow. As you guys know, if you watch my channel, I like to purchase stocks when they're following the cup and handle pattern. And the stock slowly dips down, stays down for a second, begins to build a wall up and make a cup, then forms a handle. After the handle, a lot of times the stock will rise. If you don't know what I'm referring to, look into the cup and handle pattern. But as far as stocks that I would like to own, that I see building into that pattern or following that pattern, just off the top of my head, Alibaba is one of the ones that I'm thinking about getting into. Over time, I think they're going to be, they're just like the Amazon of other parts of the world outside of the United States, specifically China. So I do think over time they're going to be okay, especially out there as China comes out of their recession. So now might be a great time to get into that. There's not too many other stocks that I'm looking into. The market is highly overvalued. just because of my job in the industry that I work in, I would like to purchase some shares of Fisher Scientific. They've been down recently, but I see that they're starting to inch back up. But it is a company that I'm looking into and that I wouldn't mind holding over an extended period of time. I think they're dominating their sector of the industry. With that being said, I think that's about it for this video. If there's any stocks that you guys have been thinking about purchasing, anything that you'd like me to look into, anything that you just see it might be something great for the future, something that's a great investment for the long run, put it down below. If you made a mistake in the stock market similar to what I've made with this, let me know about it. I hope you guys appreciate me being transparent, expressing how I feel about this actual trade with you guys, and I hope it helps you and me become a better trader. With that being said, if you like the information that you got in this video, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you subscribe for more videos, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.